We can't do everything ourselves, because us trying to do everything ourselves, we get distracted and we can't give our full 100%, and our business would take a hit. So we have to kind of delegate some of the responsibilities to other people in order for us to grow the business. And that's what I mean by that. Even if we're capable of doing financials, doing the construction sides, going out and purchasing, we might miss opportunities because we're trying to do everything ourselves.
What's up, everyone? This is Niyi Adewale, and I am the host of the Ekabo Home Financial Freedom Mastermind Group. This group meets every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and the members of this group are committed to achieving financial freedom while we're still young enough to actually enjoy it. So in this podcast, you're going to get VIP access to the conversations that we have about different forms of investment and ways to get your dollars working harder for you than you worked to first acquire those dollars. I'm happy today because we have one of our mainstays within the Mastermind group, Rahdeem Abdullah, joining us. He is an investor out of Philly, and he's been investing in real estate for 17 years. So today we're going to dive into his story and learn all about the journey, the ups, the downs, and really the lessons learned that can help everybody else along their journey as well. So Rahdeem, thank you for joining us, man.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you inviting me every week on this Financial Freedom Mastermind. It's a help, and I definitely think it's really significant to hear our voices just talk about business and collabing.
Absolutely. I'm blessed to have you join because you be dropping gems each week, and you start commenting on things that I'm like, hold up, Rahdeem's into that too. So I'm happy that we can finally have this time to really dive into your story. And you mentioned that you've been in the real estate investing game since 2005. And I want to take you all the way back to your first deal and really learn what did that first deal look like and what are some lessons that you learned from it?
All right. My first deal, man, like I said, man, that's about in 2005. My dad, he actually had, he came to me with a deal. It was a house for, I believe, $7,000. And he said, hey, look, man, it's a good deal. Let's go half. So I'm like, it's my dad. I'm like, let's do it. Handshake on a handshake. I believe that we got it off a person who just didn't want the house. They had a lot of liens and fine taxes. I didn't know about any at this point in time. I just know, look, $3,500. My dad said is a go. $3,500. My half is up. So that was how I just got my first piece of property. We signed the deed. We didn't go to no title agency, nothing. My dad was a little experienced about just going down there, signing it over, and we filed it.
Okay. And that makes me nervous when you talk through that, hey, with the liens and things like that. So were there any issues that popped up?
Well, because my dad was a little experienced, he knew how to work with the city, how to set up payment plans. So I wasn't really too worried. I really just went on blind faith of just his experience in the game. And he, he just showed me the ropes on just how to talk to the city and the government despite the liens, and just how to maneuver around the system a little bit where we can just, work it out and make payment arrangements with the city. So we did that.
That's pretty cool. Because when I see tax liens and everything of that nature, I tend to run the other way. But there's definitely value. And you mentioned that you were able to purchase this house for $7,000, even in 2005. That is very cheap, man. That's a deal, but by many standards.
And right now, the house is, the house right now is almost about $220,000.
Nice. That's pretty cool, man. And you still own that house today?
Well, like you said, when we learn lessons and how deals go through, my name is still attached to it, but we worked it. We worked it out, a deal to make things right. The business didn't always go all 100% correctly, but we was able to make things right, with our partnership. So I'm attached to it if I want to, but we just made it right through further deals down the line.
That's fair. That is fair. And taking a zoom out, I know we talked a little bit before we started actually jumping into this, but what does your portfolio look like today? That was your first deal. What does your portfolio look like today?
Well, my first deal is I own 8, I own 8 buildings, but the way that I broke the building down, I almost have a little over 13 units.
Nice.
With a little bit of mixture of homes, 2-bedroom apartment, 1-bedroom units, and studios.
So 8 properties with 13 units. So some of these are like small multifamilies and things of that nature?
Yes. Yeah.
Which one of these do you like and prefer more? Because the first house, I'm guessing, was a single family, right?
Correct.
So when did you move into the small multifamilies? What was that like, and was it a different process?
All of them was actually single, but it was just a decision to convert them. It was a decision just to convert them. But the ones that I really cherish the most is the family homes, is the single. It's really not the multi. Believe it or not, money wise, yeah, it's the multi. For me to leverage things it's easier for me to, if I wanted to sell the multi-unit and the family. But I like the single family homes because typically families live in there, they stay longer, and it makes me feel good when I know that I'm providing a house for a whole family. It does something different.
Absolutely. And I just recently started getting into single families, but more on a short-term rental basis, which is not the same. I've done mostly small multifamilies, and I'm interested from somebody that does both. What are some of those differences that you see, right? You mentioned one where the family in a single family may stay there longer, but what are some other differences you see between small multi and single family?
All right, well, so the multi, so if somebody don't pay you rent, if you're in a multi-unit, you might still have one, you might not make as much money, but you least getting something. When you're in a single household, if somebody don't pay you money, then you just out of it, that you get nothing. So that's the key difference. With a house, people is a little bit more private. It's a little bit more private, so they can do a lot more things without the complaints. With a multi-unit, depending on the space and they have privacy, but you can hear things. It's people on top of each other. And sometimes you may, hey, listen here, they playing their music too loud in the morning and night. It may be some issues. So that's the main difference. In regards to people and living space. And another key difference is people with apartments and like 2-bedroom apartments opposed to a house, they tend to leave faster in a multi-appointment because sometimes they outgrow the apartment building and they just need to go somewhere else. It's more of a turnover rate. With a house, they never really grow out the space if you got a nice size home. And that's just, it's more longevity in single household with the family, I believe. And some people who do have a whole house, sometimes they can try to rent some of their rooms out to other families, so they can get way more creative if they fall behind on rent.
True. Yeah. And once you go single family, it's kind of hard to, as a renter or even buying a single family, it's kind of hard to go back to that multi-life. So 100% agree on that piece. And are you self-managing all your properties?
Yeah, yes.
Man, so I did it for a couple units. I wouldn't say I got all the way up to 13 of self-managed. I've transitioned pretty quickly over to property management once I started hitting that double-digit threshold. But what are some of the systems and things that you use to manage those properties?
You know what? To be honest with you, is part of one of them things, and I know I'm going off a little topic and then I'm gonna get back. But you know how you said some of the lessons that I learned throughout the years, one of the things that I didn't have a proper team, right? I didn't have a proper team to show me how to make things easier. So I would just collect the rent, a regular pencil, I would just use a regular pencil tab just to keep notes, just be on top of it. I'm real responsible when it comes to money, but it's just like, it's just me just sitting down, me taking time at night, me going over the books maybe once a month, just keeping a detailed tab on my tenants, and just had certain accounts and certain piles of money where I'll just know this is for this and this is for that. And I just didn't really have a team to show me the other side. It made it a lot more tedious.
True. And that was how you started out doing it, right? What are you doing today as far as the managing?
So right now, it's 17 years. I'm just coming out of it. Where I'm just like, let me get it in order, because now so you gotta understand, when I first started, technology wasn't as advanced.
Not at all. So
I wasn't as savvy, and I'm still not as savvy because I've been so complacent on just how I used to do things, and I didn't properly convert over to the technology side, so to speak. So now I am correcting that now with talking to people like you guys. Going to start trying to lean on you guys more so I can just make it easier, because now it's just you get tired of running around with the rent, you get tired of doing the details, and you just want more of your life as you get older. So it's one of them lessons that you definitely gotta learn, and I sacrificed it because I didn't have anybody who was doing it in front of me where I learned from.
Of course. And you mentioned something that's very important. In 2005, all these softwares that everybody's using, all this stuff came after the 2008 crash, when people were like, okay, there's a lot of rental properties people are buying, let's create this management software. And so it really was a little bit of the wild, wild west, but you found a way to make it work for you. And that's the main thing. And you've also identified hey, if I move this over and start using some of the technology that's been created, it's going to make my life a lot easier. I'm an advocate of the property management software. There's a bunch out there like Appfolio, Buildium. I think apartments.com does something now for free. And being able to get your tenants paying online and maintenance requests online will change your life. You'll never go back to the other way again. So no, anything you need from that standpoint, please feel free to reach out. More than happy to jump on and work through some of that technology piece. But one thing that you mentioned also is that real estate is too big of a game to try to do everything yourself. What did you mean by that?
What I mean by that is we have so many different positions in this game, and it goes back to team. I know I just kind of mentioned is having a strong team. So if we can't do everything ourselves, because us trying to do everything ourselves, we get distracted and we can't give our full 100%, and our business would take a hit. So we have to kind of delegate some of the responsibilities to other people in order for us to grow the business. And that's what I mean by that. Even if we're capable of doing financials, doing the construction sides, going out and purchasing, we might miss opportunities because we're trying to do everything ourselves. And as a result, opportunities we take it for granted, but opportunities, they come. Opportunities is an opportunity, and we don't always get them. It'd be that one opportunity that can take us over the top. So that's what I mean by that. It's too big for us to be trying to do it all ourselves. And everything that I mentioned, I have been trying to do it by myself, and it's the lesson that I'm learning. You can't do it because you can be a lot farther.
Agreed. 100% agree. And I'm in the short-term rental space now, and I know some owners that are still going and cleaning each of their units, right? They're still going, and they're the ones that are doing the trash takeout every single week at all their units. And to your point, it's going to limit you at a certain point. Because if you're the one that has to clean every unit and you have, say, 3 checkouts, and that's the max that you can do, now if you go get a 4th house, how are you going to grow? If you go get a 5th house, that's way too much. So you have to start leveraging those items off. I'm 100% with you. And I'd love to dig into what are some of the things that you've been leveraging off, or some areas where you found, hey, I can give this to somebody else and use my time to to its greatest value?
One of the things that I struggled early, like I had a little ego. Like I used to come through and I used to be like, man, I want to be known to be the man. I want to get respect from the people. And I had to realize, like, I was just starting to learn the work, but here it is that I had another guy who been around for so long and knew so much more, but my ego was so high and so proud, I wanted to feel like the man. And my dad sat me down, he said, look, he know what he's doing. You have to let him, you paying him for his brains, but you're not using it. Like it's backwards. He's saying, let his brains shine and you will be there to clean it up if things go wrong. And when he said that to me, it was like, I was so controlling at the time, like, no, I could do it better. I could do it this. My ego was it was a lot high and I couldn't understand, like, yo, I'm paying for somebody to have brains, but I'm not using it. It's like I'm only thinking my way. And when I stop that way, I start realizing, oh man, I learned from this. I learned from that. Let him be great at what he do. Let him be great at what he do. Even if sometimes I might disagree with it, but sometimes I'm not always right. True. So it's just like, okay, let me let other people shine. Let their brain shine. Everybody brings something unique to the table.
True. And I'm a firm believer that you can learn something, whether it's good or bad, from anybody, right? Literally anybody. If you just pay attention and have conversations with a multitude of people, you can learn life lessons through them. And I think along the point of what you just made, Steve Jobs actually said something similar. He said that you don't hire talented individuals to tell them what to do. You hire them so that they can tell you what to do. You hire them and then you get out of the way and let them solve those problems and those issues in a given parameter. So 100% agree. If you're going to pay somebody, you definitely want to dig into their expertise and learn from those individuals.
Absolutely.
Another piece that you mentioned before is that you have to have the courage in business to fail. You mentioned that it's a part of business. You have to be willing to fail. Do you have any examples of a different property or something that was a learning lesson that at the time looked like a failure?
How many you want me to dig into? I got a lot of.
Hey, come on.
Hey, listen.
Me too.
Come on, man. Is that a trick question, man?
Come on now.
Come on. I give you one. And I think this will benefit everybody. So I did a joint deal. It was about my fourth deal. It was a lady. She was selling a house for $15,000, but she would not sell it. She wouldn't sell it to me, but she sold it to somebody else who she felt was comfortable. They know her whole childhood life. So we did a deal on a handshake because I wanted him to trust me. We was operating, we don't need paperwork. Our word is good. So I know I'm reading books. I'm like, I know I really want to put it in paperwork, but I don't want to offend my friend. And we did the deal. We did the deal on a handshake. When we acquired the property, everything was verbal. Everything was verbal. So when it started time, when I started asking, like, I put up everything too. Like, yo, you don't have the money right now. It's fine. We'll work it out. It's no problem. When I started asking for the money, the problem started coming. It was just like, no, I had said this. Money's supposed to come here with a bunch of excuses. So I'm like, no problem. We'll just do it. But what happened was, because I put his name on a deed and we was 50-50, he was letting people in his ear and he was trying to sell his 50% of the house without me, like pretty much not even giving me a chance to buy my other half. So as a result, I couldn't enforce it. We was playing these games where he changing locks, I'm changing locks, and we was at a standstill. And I had to actually pay him so much more money and a lawyer to buy my half, and that was the biggest mistake that I ever made and that I learned. I would never do a deal without having it in writing.
Man, that powerful story. And literally, it happens to the best of us. Like, I've learned through others' experience and through my own, in college, of not having things written down, to put everything on paper. And I take it to the extreme because I'm very, kind of to the book and all that stuff. And like, even my mom, right? We are in a couple deals together in Kentucky. She's like, hey, don't worry about it, all this stuff. I'm like, no, let's put all this in writing, because I want to treat this like a business and make sure that you're taken care of, and that everything that we talked about, you can refer to it and not feel uncomfortable trying to come to me. But man, that's huge. That's huge. And I 100% agree with you. And you mentioned that was the fourth deal?
Yeah, this was the fourth deal. And it's just like, and the way that I was thinking was like, okay, I can lose. My thinking was wrong. Okay, if he go bad, if the deal go bad, I will only lose, my 15, but there's no way, because my 50%, we was already getting the house at a whole deal. I just knew I was comfortable with making my money back, but it's one of them things where it's just like, I took real estate classes. I'm going back and I'm reading the notes, and it clearly say, as do not have. I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, oh my God. And now, like I said, I switch it up. Anything we say, if we can't put on paper and you feel uncomfortable, it's something wrong.
Yeah, we got to walk away.
Yeah, it's something wrong, because we only writing down what we said verbal. That's
true.
It. So rule of thumb is that's one of the failures that I made, that really just it wound up costing me an extra $30,000 just in overpaying for a house that had no business doing.
That's crazy.
The house is worth $250 now, so
hey, water under the bridge.
Yeah. It's water,
and now Buddy missing out on all that equity that's built.
Yeah, and I was trying to explain it to him, but when people in certain situations, it wasn't that he wasn't a bad guy. It's just that for whatever reason, he just thought his 50% was. I don't know what was going on with his mind. I don't even want to account for that, but yeah, that was a mistake.
That's cool. That's cool. But you learned from it, and now on the other 4 deals, do you have like a standard agreement that you use to work with different partners?
Well, the partner when that kind of like turned me off a little bit. I'm just working with partners a little bit, so I started doing everything, individual. But I did do another partner deal with my girlfriend.
Nice.
And yeah, we put it to the table, because it's just like, whether we break up or not, like, it's still on paper. We still have equity. We still do this. So we cross my T's, dot my I. Here's the agreement. Let's go.
And that's the key right here, right? Is you had a life lesson, and now we're all learning from it. And you, similar to me, it doesn't matter how close or tight the relationship is, it still needs to be on paper, just so that we can both know what we verbally agreed to. That was a gem. Hey, if you can't put what we verbally agreed to on paper, something's wrong. Something is wrong.
And even if we do mean good, something can happen to me or you tomorrow. And sometimes your family member won't honor that agreement. They just gonna be like, yo, I need this. They're not gonna understand what we're going through. So here it is. Here, this is what we had going on. People are different. So I tell people this all the time, and if just keep things in writing, keep it professional as much as you can, and don't, just protect your assets. Writing is how you protect your assets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Rahdeem, you mentioned something before around the importance of great habits and establishing good habits from the get-go. And I want to jump into, what are some of the habits you think are needed to be successful in the real estate game?
Okay. Good habits, you just really need discipline, and discipline comes with sacrifice. Once you figure out what you need to do, attack it. Don't get distracted. I know we're going to do it to a point, but as long as we keep the main focus on goal, we just have to create good habits. If you're saying, I'm going to get up every day at 8 o'clock, and at least trying to find a deal or trying to work on this, be there at 8 o'clock. Even if you don't want to, be there at 8 o'clock. That's a good habit. If you're saying you're going to pay somebody, be a man in your word, pay them. That's good habits. And what happens is you when you create good habits, you start doing them without thinking. And what happens is when you have great discipline and you keep doing it and you do great habits, it just open your opportunities will increase for it to happen. You know, I believe in luck, right? I believe in luck, but I think you have to work to get lucky. And I use lucky interchangeable with opportunities. So your success comes in your details, and that's the habits. So you keep doing it, great habits, and you're going to be good. You're going to be able to weather some storms.
Agreed. And you truly do have to put in that hard work to get quote unquote lucky, right? And to become quote unquote successful. Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned that you've bought 8 deals. How are you sourcing these deals? Are you getting it from the MLS? Are you talking to people? Where are you getting these deals from?
So this another aspect. When you're a people person, never discount being a people person. Do not become an a-hole and think because you have a little bit of success that you can talk to people, because you never know. You never know who is who. And this goes back to team and affiliations, right? So people know that I'm straight business. I'm honest, right? If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I say I got $30 for you on Monday, I'm going to give it to you. 2 o'clock is going to be there. If not, I'm calling. Where can I come? I'm chasing you down with your money. So my first deal is just like, comes from a renter. Hey, listen here, you was good. Anytime, like my first house, I had a lot of mistakes. Because I tried to do it on my own. I was learning. So things will go bad. Little leak here, little leak there. But when they called me, I was always there. I always fixed it. It was never a problem. I would never not be neglectful. But they was like, hey, listen here, my landlord, he's a good guy. He let me go on rent sometimes. He talked to me nice. He see how I am with my kids. We become real personal in the sense that, sometimes collecting rent face to face is good. It's not always bad. Like I know how we were just talking about people, but sometimes these face to face interactions have some of the benefits. And one of the benefits is they become personal to a point where they can say, hey, listen here, this is a good guy. I vouch for him. So, and he got money. I'm paying him, just and the third. So it's word of mouth. I don't do advertisement, but everything come off word of mouth. It always been like that. And it just bounced in my favor that way. My affiliations come from, for this one guy, I was working at a drug and abuse program, right? I said, I just want to learn about the business. You don't have to pay me, right? Even though he still paid me something, I just said, pay me what you want if you do want to pay me, but I don't need it. I'm here for something different. I was worrying about the relationship. He grew. Now some of the people who we have in this program, as far as like older people, vets, if he don't have no room for them, guess who he call? Me for one unit. Yo, he a good guy. He got a clean house. He's not a slumlord. I'm gonna get you first because you did this solid for me when I was coming up. And that's how it worked. Word of mouth. 100% all my deals. And except for, and even in my sister-in-law, she became a real estate agent. Hey, DZ, I know you good business. I know when we come to the table, your financials going to check out. I can run your numbers off the books because I know if you say you got 30,000 at settlement, you ain't about games. You won't close out. Hey, I got this off-market deal. We tight. We don't even have to go to the market. We got it for 150. This what she really want. Let's make it happen. Cool, I want it.
That's dope. That's dope. That's word of mouth. That's pocket listings. That's how you do off-market deals.
Yeah, relationships and affiliations. That's part of your team. It's all about, people think team is I always gotta work right under you, or we gotta do 50-50. No, a team can be people who you work with on an everyday basis, or it could be affiliations. Just like now, if me and you build a relationship for the last month and you be like, yo, I know I've been talking to Rahdeem and he got a few apartments. Let me take a chance on him. Yo, I got somebody out in Philly. Or you from Atlanta. Hey, listen here, I got this realtor. He do financial freedom classes all day. He not about games. He seems serious. When he go out in Atlanta, hey, look, now I got this guy. See if you can help him get a house. And it's because of the positive energy you kicking off. It's no nonsense.
And vice versa. And vice versa, man.
Word of mouth.
I love it. And it goes along with that quote, right? Your reputation will precede you. And literally your word is your bond. Like, you got to protect that. Like the one guy that you mentioned with the first deal, imagine where he could be right now if he'd stuck with you, you know, and stuck with doing a couple of deals and did stick to the word that you guys discussed. You guys would be, it'd be a whole lot different picture. So I'm with you, man. I'm definitely with you. And one thing that I really wanted to dive into is I went through some struggles during the first year of COVID-19, right? With all these renters and a lot of dollars not coming in. What did that look like for you? How were you able to, I guess, work the rough seas during COVID-19?
It wasn't rough for me. I'm gonna be honest with you. And it goes back to, it was just a good break for me. And I like to think that I'm a good person and good people. Like I said, a lot of people that comes to my house, they come recommended, voucher for. So the people who could not afford it, they had programs and they gave me the money back for it. At the time, some of my houses, I don't have mortgages and leases. So I just got good people who always just came up with the money. I didn't take a loss. It's been the most profitable that I've ever been. Like the last 2 years, COVID had been a blessing to me. And I took struggles early on, like, because I didn't have mortgages on a house. Like I'm not always business minded early on. So I am compassionate. So sometimes when I look at an application and they got evicted, right? If you try to hide it from me, it says a lot about you. But if you come on and say, hey, look, you know, you try to explain it away, I have compassion. I'll take a chance on you. Sometimes you just have to take chances on you because sometimes people might have messed up their credit early on. Sometimes people late. But because I was able to own houses free and clear at times, I could miss 2 or 3 or use a 3 months, 4 months without it financially burdening me. And what happens is people never forget that. They saying, man, you know what? Here go an extra 100. Here go this. It's some people who never paid me back, but you know they always have good things to say. Like I had this guy. The best thing that ever happened to me in this COVID, it was a guy. He was a lawyer. God forbid he died. He passed away, heart attack, and he was about 3 months behind this, but he always make it back up. He was a lawyer. It hit him hard, and he couldn't apply for all the things that other people had. So what happened is when I found him, and I contacted his family because I just going through his phone, and you know he had hard times. I didn't know he had a family. His family said, "Our name is our name, and he's not going to die owing anybody." And gave me all the back rent. I'm like, come on, you don't have to do that. Just put it towards his friend. He said, no, it's not even that type of family. He said, we appreciate you because without you, we wouldn't even know where he at because he must have went to another city. He came here in Philly, but they was located out in Jersey, and you know, he was just on his own. But you good people. You let my family stay here, even though he was behind. They was appreciative. So. I'm not always hard on business. I do have that compassionate piece, and going through this year, I just think it helped me out. I would like to believe that, you know, me just having a little bit of compassion, and I'm not always business minded as I'm like, I do mix both of them in there. I'm firm when I need to be firm, but I just believe like I let people go when they need it, when they really, the people who really need it. You're going to have a lot of people playing games, but you identify some of the people who've been paying you for years and come up on hard times, and you let them go, and they make it back, whether they send some business your way, whether they do something. But this year, I got paid every month, all my units, and they was fully occupied. Now it's starting to now I'm starting to get is up and down a little bit, but it's good.
That's dope. And it's a testament to the relationships you built and just that connection that you made with your tenants, because everybody's people at the end of the day. We're all regular people, right? And if you talk to somebody like they're a person and you really understand their situation, they'll definitely remember that. So that's awesome, Rahdeem. And I'm happy that you were thriving, because one thing that COVID did do is it stopped people from moving if you were staying in a spot, right? And one of the biggest costs is turnover, right? Is somebody moving out, somebody moving in and saying, hey, what about this? What about that? The store's stuck, that type of stuff. And you got to fix everything, right? From a turnover perspective. But moving over to, two things. One, current project that you're working on. You mentioned that you're working on like a mixed use building. Can you explain what that project is and what your vision for it is?
Okay, yeah. So this was a residential house, but it was zoned as commercial. It's one of them houses that's just, it's like big, but you won't think that it's big. It's like 1,600 square feet, but it's just really, really like big. So when I walked in there, I was just going, just walk in and out of it. Just, hey, put it back together, residential. But I'm like, let me maximize this a little bit. Let me take advantage of the zoning right now. So what I did was I had an idea in my head, and I just turned it into a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom apartment upstairs, and want to leave the downstairs as either an event space or some type of business. But, maybe explore into the Airbnb. I don't know. I'm still very much in the open in regards to what I'm going to do with the commercial space. And that's why I've been trying to ask you guys, like, hey, how is the Airbnb, X, Y, and Z, things like that. So right now I've been working, like I said, only thing in COVID, I didn't have a lot of people working. If I did had to take a loss, like a lot of people just wasn't working. And I've been really just in there by myself. So the process taking a little long, but.
You're talking about for like the rehabs and things of that nature?
The rehab, because I'm burning on both ends. And it's just like, at this point in time, I'm trying to come up with a structure where I'm trying to pay people like hourly instead of by the project, because people is, the prices is a little high. So I'm trying to come up with a strategy where I'm kind of trying to set up where I pay people maybe $35 to $40 an hour and come, different laborers, but people just want a lot more, I guess, when they work for entrepreneur, but people work that every day. But
way less. That being said, with the company, you do get those health benefits, things of that nature. But no, when it comes to,
we ain't taking taxes out though.
Hey, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Good.
That's a major point.
Good.
Hey, this is cash in your hand, man. You can do what you want with that.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, and to that point, the only piece that I would hesitate on, and I'd love to get your thoughts on how you would manage this, is I would feel like I need to either be there or have a camera somewhere to make sure people are actually working each hour like they normally would. You know what I mean? Like, how would you manage that piece?
Well, because I pretty much in the inside, I know the time that it should be done, right? So don't get me wrong, I'll allow people to burn the clock a little bit. That just come with it. I don't mind it, because at the end of the day, the work won't come. But it shouldn't take you 3 days to frame a house, right? Mm-hmm. So I know that. So and there's a little overseeing. I should just pop in and pop out to see what's going on. It shouldn't take you 2 days to rough in electric. If it's just, it's just certain things that you could just know, just knowing, like I know how long each project, I have done every project in the house, laid floors. I'm not an electrician, but I've been with my electrician where I'm running at. I know how much a roof a roof costs. I know how the time. So I'll let you burn it to a point. It's just a little overseeing. So I wouldn't be too hesitant about that. I'm not hesitant about that at all.
That's dope. And this is the benefit of actually being hands-on and knowing the costs. I can tell you that it took me a while and a lot of large bills to understand, like, hey, it doesn't cost this much to do it. And then I learned and started going from there. I think my first roof, I paid like close to $9,000 for the first roof. Believe me, it was way overpriced. And then for the second roof, I went with a different company and I got a whole bunch of bids. I think that one was closer to like $5,000, right? For the materials and the work being done. I was like, okay, I definitely overpaid for that last one because this house is the same size. So in this game, it's one where you truly have to just stay in the game and make sure that you're, keeping reserves and that you're practicing in a way that you can stay in it long. Because what you mentioned at the top, Rahdeem, is the key. Cash flow is cool, right? But the equity is even better. The fact that you bought a house for $7,000, right? No mortgage on it. And now it's worth 200 and something. I don't know what percent return that is, but it's multiple times.
Absolutely. Like I said, and this is what I want everybody to understand who may listen to this podcast. It's not every day that I don't want people coming to this game thinking, yo, just because you're an entrepreneur, that means success. Entrepreneur just means I'm ready to take control whether I make it or not. I'm gambling on myself. That's how I look at it. But I don't want people to come in and think like these deals happen every day. Sometimes we have to be comfortable. Sometimes we might go through a project and break even, right? And that's cool because, is you really learn certain lessons that might prepare you for that big break. We don't get big breaks often. A lot of people don't make, sometimes you might hit a big deal. You might hit a big deal, but it's not always like that. We can't always come in and just think, hey, listen here, man, I buy a house, I'm gonna make $1 million. Don't work that way. It don't work that way. Sometimes you break even on some things, but you live to see another day. That's what we hope, because we just want to stay around long enough for when a good break or a good opportunity happen, it could just take us to the top. But sometimes we just ride that wave. Like I said, I've been doing it for a lot of years, right? And you get your breaks. You don't get your breaks, but I'm lived to see another day, and that opportunity is just like, it's key. That's what we look for. But it's not every day that, if you're just a person who just paying out the bills and not like saving a lot of money and you're just doing it the right way, these deals don't come every day, like these out the park deals.
True.
And that's fine. And that's fine because you building up, because eventually once all your bills pay down, when you're 65 or you're 70, when you got, it's like, it'll start making more sense the longer you in.
And maybe sooner if they keep pumping money in the market. But Rahdeem, I appreciate you, man. And that was really good advice to the listeners. And I want to ask one last question because we're running up on the time now. I promise to let you go. And the last question is, RahSheaButter, okay? Please explain what that is, how it came to be, and what is RahSheaButter?
Oh, RahSheaButter. Yeah, man. Let me go back. So, okay, that's one of the things that I created during the COVID, right? Everybody washing their hands 20,000 times, and they just looking ashy. They just looking ashy. They wasn't looking right. So what happened was going back to affiliations and having good relationships, it's a lady named Zena. She was making the shea butter. She makes the shea butter, and I've been buying this for years. Just buying it just because I like it, just because I'm liking it. Anybody who wanted, I would just purchase it out of my pocket. So I just come to her jokingly, hey, when we gonna make something happen? When you ready? So I'm like, oh, for real? So she gave me the price of a wholesale and how to break it down, showed me the process, and we went off running. So it's pretty much a shea butter, organic, handmade, just a moisturizer. Your brother love it, man. I keep shipping it all out. He ain't give you none?
Come on.
He ain't give you none? You ain't
nah,
still
man,
none?
He ain't sharing the secret. He ain't sharing the secret.
Yeah, I gotta talk to him about that. It's plentiful over here. I keep telling you, ain't gotta be stingy with it.
Hey, come on now. Nah, Rahdeem, I appreciate you, man, for real. And